Alright, what's up guys, it's Heat. I wanted to talk today about the 1 week race. I'm doing a 1 week race that just started on Saturday. It's a 1 week Nemesis race, and I wanted to talk sort of about my strategy and my thought process behind creating a character for the league for this race, 1 week race, and sort of the strategies that I use and how I progress and such. So let's take a look at the build real quick. So the build is the Leap Slam build. With a heavy strike single target, and that's basically your DPS output. I also have ground slam, which I use to distance myself from volatile rares, so I don't take the explode damage. And then I run 2 curses, vulnerability, and Warlord's Mark. Warlord's Mark is for mana leech and for life leech. And then vulnerability is for stun. I mainly use vulnerability right now because I happen to have 2% mana leech on these gloves, which is one thing I would recommend for this build. Have some form of mana leech on one piece of gear, and that's enough. You don't need more than 2 on one piece of gear. So yeah, vulnerability helps with stun, and so yeah, basically that's how the build works. I also run Blood Rage, which gives you Frenzy and on kill, and it also gives you a lot of life leech. So life leech is important for this build. My links are like this. So for heavy strike, I run melee physical damage, added fire damage, and faster attacks. Right now, DPS at level 64 is basically 9,500, right? Which is kind of insane. It's pretty good. The maul itself is actually pretty good. It's not the best. It's pretty insane for this level. But you can also roll an insane flat physical, which would make this maul out of control. Like, so this has a potential for more DPS. My Leap Slam is Endurance Charge on melee stun, and the good thing about this gem is it gives you, if you read what it says there, it gives you 14% reduced enemy stun threshold, so that's going to increase as the levels goes up. So it also helps with stunning enemies, which is pretty amazing. And you get endurance charges, which this build utilizes. And then I also use faster attacks. I use melee physical, and I use Leap Slam. Now, at some point when I do boss runs and such, I'm probably going to switch out added fire on heavy strike for endurance charge on melee stun, so I can stun bosses. So I'm hoping to be able to stun bosses, perma-stun or semi-perma-stun, to where I don't take much damage, and that's how that works. I also have, I use blood magic on my curses. I also put reduced mana in there just cause, but I will be using reduced mana with my hatred, and I'll probably run haste or determination. We'll see how my defenses are. If we look at my tree, I basically started early game. I didn't pick up any health early game. I just took all these 2-hand DPS nodes and came into berserking. From there, I actually moved through the life tree to come up and grab the DPS boost from these mace passives. One thing to note is you will need Dex to run some of these gems, and you will need intelligence. So that's why I have versatility, and this also helps. That's why I came in through here, through the bottom, as opposed to going through the top to reach the circle. So I went through the bottom to get these, and also this 10, and also picked this up for 20 Dex. It helps run faster attacks, and it helps run Blood Rage. I picked up a lot of mace passives right here, which also reduce enemy stun threshold, which is amazing. This also gives you armor. I did pick up physical attack because that's important. So right now, with Blood Rage, gives me 4 plus 2 is like 6, and if I cast a Warlord's Mark, it would give me 6% extra. So that's kind of crazy. It'd be like 12% or whatever. I might pick up Lava Lash, I'm not sure right now on Heavy Strike. Fire damage is kind of a lot, it's almost 1,000, so 30% of that would be an extra on a high end, 300 DPS of fire damage, which is pretty good. I haven't decided. I also don't know if I will be picking up Elemental Adaptation. It's a good defensive node, I might pick it up, not really sure. I will be picking up another Endurance Charge here. So in total, I will have 5. I picked up 1 from Oak in Merciless, and then I selected Oak for each difficulty. So I got the melee physical, I got the health, and I got the extra endurance charge. I will be filling out the rest of this life tree, and I will, and I haven't decided on whether to go up to get baptism by light, and then I'll be here by athleticism and can go and get endurance and more armor, or or come here, which there are some two-handed with life nodes that are actually pretty good and more stun duration. I will be getting these passives because this is pretty good. You get armor and life. So I'll link this and put it in my comments so you guys can take a look at this tree. I'll probably make an update video for when I finish the race at what level I am at. Alright, so I wanted to make a build. So when you're thinking about 1 week race, the way I think about it is what build will allow you to acquire gems easily and can output a lot of DPS without buying a lot of things. And so I thought about this Leap Slam build because with the Marauder, because the Marauder gets a lot, because all the gems that you need with the Marauder you get from the quests. So if we take a look at his quest rewards, you get Ground Slam, you can get Decoy Totem, so everything you need is here. Added fire damage, Leap Slam, so there's a lot of stuff. In addition, when you get into the higher difficulty levels, there will he has a lot of blood magic gems. He also has faster attacks, and he has a lot of reduced mana. So I think I've picked up 3 reduced mana already, and you can sell those for 2 chaos almost instantly. Everybody always wants to buy reduced mana, so it's good for acquiring wealth because you don't need a lot of gems, and the gems that you do need you get pretty early on, so you can sell most of everything else to get more wealth to buy things that you need, and that'll help you out. So see, there's another reduced mana, there's Blood Rage. So when you think about a build, you want to see how to maximize the efficiency of the gems that you get for your class. So that's why I went with Marauder as opposed, because you can I could have went with Duelist, but the Duelist doesn't have as many reduced mana and gems to complement this build. So let me show you the build in action. I'll take it to Sarn. And basically how it works is you activate Blood Rage, then you go to work. As you can see, you get endurance charges. slam really fast with Blood Rage. If you want, you can curse for extra damage and stun. You don't really need the Quicksilver Flask, but I run it anyway. I will probably switch out for some another Granite or a Resistance Flask. And you basically perma-stun Perpetus right there. The only problem with this build is that you will take a lot of damage from Physical Reflect, but if you hit a Granite before you go in and attack, you can mitigate a lot of that damage, and then you can't really kill yourself with a Heavy Strike single target, so if you want to take them one at a time, you can do that as well, so you don't die. There you go. So it's 10,000 DPS, which is insane, and 3,100 AoE at level 64 with a pretty good maul, but it's not that amazing. It could be better, right? You could roll flat physical on that. So one thing I do want to talk about is when you progress, usually in 1 week races, you know, gems that scale well by levels are really good. So use things like Ethereal Knives and Explosive Arrow, because you're not dependent on a weapon, on a good weapon. However, with this build, you actually don't even need it to be this good. So let me give you an example of what you can do. You can use the vendor recipe with a rustic sash. So let me see if I have a rustic sash somewhere here. There's a rustic sash. All right, and then you pick a weapon that you want. So let me get a weapon. In this case, I focused on maces. And so you get a mace that you want.
You get him, boy.
What's a good mace? Kari Maul, a Spiny Maul. Alright, we'll get this Kari Maul. So I use this strategy and technique for every weapon that I basically used to level to this point, unless I randomly found an upgrade. So, okay, here's what you do. You take one blacksmith's whetstone, a maul that you want, a weapon that you want, and a rustic sash. And what you do is you trade all three of them into the vendor, and you get IPD on the weapon. And it's the level of the IPD is dependent on the rarity of the rustic sash. So the more rare the rustic sash is, the higher the IPD will be. So on this yellow item, on this rare item, you will get a lot of IPD. I think it's maybe in the 90s, close to it. I don't know. But you can also use a magic rustic sash, and that'll give you around 60. And then that will get you through the entire game. I mean, up until this point as well, because the gems scale well, and the build on the passive tree is done well enough that using this technique will get you through it. So before you sell this, you want to max quality it, and then you want to make sure you hold on to your whetstones, and you want to collect weapons, superior weapons, so you can sell them to the vendor. So if you sell weapons that have quantity up to 40%, so all of them together, you sell it, get 40%, you get one whetstone back. So you should always have whetstones if you pay attention to it. So you should always be able to do this technique. So I'll show you right now. Sell this. Sell these three, and you get it back 79% IPD. Look at that, 189 to 283. pretty crazy. And you have one roll for an augmentation on the weapon, and you might be able to roll attack speed, which I have done once, and it was insane. And the weapon becomes amazing. So that +3 is not gained on kill is not that good. But you can use this, and this will get you up to Merciless, and you can farm a Merciless really easily actually with this if you want. You can do the same thing. You can run this weapon on Sarn, and then build wealth until you buy a pretty beastly weapon. I was lucky to have this drop. So basically, that's what the build is. If you guys have any questions, just drop me a line. I'll post up the passive skill tree, and I will update this with another video later at the end of the race. Alright, thanks.